The Clown Stays in the Picture is the 14th episode of the 30th season of The Simpsons, directed by Timothy Bailey. There were bits of this that I liked, there were bits that I didn't care for. It starts off with Krusty doing a podcast with Marc Maron, whose work I'm not familiar with, so I guess thank you to the episode for introducing me. And Krusty starts to tell the story about the time he worked on a film called The Sands of Space. And things kept going wrong with the film. Krusty had to make a lot of decisions, and he was very anxious and, quite frankly, on the brink of a mental breakdown. And it's a very difficult time for Krusty. The scenes, even though I don't normally care for flashbacks, the scenes on the film set I just thought were great. I really thoroughly enjoyed them. It's no secret that I love seeing film sets, TV sets in animation. It's just something I always adore. So that really appealed to me. But to be honest, I don't think they needed to force various Springfield characters to be there. Marge and Homer were working on the set, multiple other characters from Springfield, and when that happened, I kind of didn't buy into the narrative as much. And I feel like Krusty is a big enough character that he could have carried the story himself without Marge and Homer being in it too much. We do have Bart and Lisa at the beginning listening to the podcast, so that's kind of how we get onto this story. But I just feel like it was a little bit too forced. But as I said, the actual flashbacks, unusually for me, were scenes that I actually really enjoyed. But at the same time, the actual action wasn't that interesting. The events that unfolded were kind of dull. So I liked watching Krusty. I liked the animation of the film sets, but the actual narrative itself as it developed just didn't seem to be going anywhere. And yes, new problems would crop up that Krusty would have to deal with, but the problems weren't that interesting. So as a narrative, it's kind of dull, but there are several individual things that I actually thought worked quite well. So it's very much an average episode, but the good bits I really liked. The rest of it was just kind of a bit flat, to be perfectly honest. So I would watch it again, but it's never going to be a favourite. It's not even a favourite Krusty episode. There are quite a few Krusty-centric episodes that I think are far better than this. But nevertheless, just because it's not the best, it doesn't mean it's not at least a little bit good. The Clown Stays in the Picture had room for improvement. The narrative could have been a bit more interesting. Certain things could have felt a bit more organic. It could have felt a little less forced. But that aside, I actually relatively enjoyed it. The Clown Stays in Pictures, all things considered, it's not a bad episode.